Presented by
Ebola. What is Ebola? Ebola is a disease that commonly affects the non-human primates and human species. It is one of the species in the Viridae family virus that can cause hemorrhagic fever in humans and non-human primates. The disease was first discovered in 1976 near the Ebola River, which was used to name the virus later on. The virus started to spread out into many countries throughout Africa. By the time about 882 people were infected by the Ebola disease, 55% of the infected people have died. However, the Ebola disease began to outbreak again during 2014 to 2016 by the same reason as 1976. Who discovered Ebola?
He was the first scientist from Belgium who discovered the Ebola disease in 1976. His mission was to find out why so many people were dying from an unknown disease. So, he collected the blood sample for an examination. While Piot was examining the blood under a microscope, he said that he had seen a gigantic worm moving around.
Where does it come from? At first, the scientists have no clue where the disease came from, but they still believe that the virus is outbreak by an animal born. Now we can confirm that the Ebola started to spread out by the fruit bats. Then other primates such as apes and monkeys, they started to carry the disease to humans. Life cycle. It all starts with the extracellular cell, the virus that occurred outside of the cell or host. The virus will try to find a way to get inside the cell, then it would attach to the cell. A receptor on the surface of the host will connect the virus and engulf it into the cell. Most of the cells that are used are dendritic, endothelial, and other immune cells.
The second step in the life cycle of Ebola is that the virus uses the glycoproteins to help release itself from the vesicle into the cell.
The next step is transcription. The Ebola virus will be transcribed from single-stranded RNA into the strands of rich mRNA. Then it will be released into the cytoplasm and move through the cytoplasm to the nucleus of the cell.
The last step is a replication of the host cell. Once the virus can get to the nucleus, it will be sent out to other cells. Then it will be spread into the entire body and ruin the infected body.
How do you get Ebola? Infected people can send Ebola virus through direct contact in many ways, such as secretions, blood, organs, or bodily fluids of infected animals. Then the virus can get into the body through the broken skin or mucous membranes, eyes, nose, and lips. Also, it can be contacted by sexual. Furthermore, some people did not know that they might have used infected animals for butchering, cooking, or eating. However, most cases usually happen in human to human.
Where does it attack? It starts in the immune system cells and rapidly doubles itself. Then it spreads out and attacks every organ and tissue of the infected body, such as brain and liver. But there are still bones and skeletal muscles that will not be attacked by the Ebola virus.
Symptoms. The Ebola disease begins to start off between 2 to 21 days. There are high fever, sore throat, headache, joint pain and muscle pain, fatigue, diarrhea, vomiting, abdominal pain, extensive bleeding, rash, red eyes, hiccups, cough, chest pain, difficulties in breathing, and difficulty in swallowing, external and internal bleeding.
Vaccine. During 2014, there were 2 Ebola vaccines that have licensed by the World Health Organization. CAD3-ZEBOV was developed by GlaxoSmithKline in collaboration with the United States National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. RVSV-ZEBOV was developed by the Public Health Agency of Canada in Winnipeg with New Link Genetics.
How can you prevent Ebola? Firstly, practice on taking extra care on personal hygiene, such as wash your hands with soaps and water regularly. Avoid having contact with body fluids.
Do not use items that have been contacted with an infected person's bloody fluids. Example, clothes, medical equipment, needles. Avoid going on the funeral that requires handling of the body of someone who has died from Ebola virus infection.
Avoid having contact with non-human primates and bats, including body fluids or raw meat made by these animals. Avoid going to hospitals in West Africa that infected patients are being treated.
Thank you.